Well, hello there, guys, and welcome back to our campaign here in Master and Command. I want to thank everybody for being so supportive, and what I would ask is that keep doing what you're doing, hitting that like button, commenting down below, and of course, subscribing if you haven't already. We're pushing forward with our Austrian army here, or our Hapsburg army, and it looks like amongst the thickets of the field, our scouts have discovered a wounded officer, evidently left behind in our allies' retreat. His uniform and bearing suggest a man of rank. He's conscious, though, and greatly weakened. So we can actually try and get a level 2 officer. We're going to have to cut his leg off, though. What a start. But because of it, we've got Claudius von Harak, a new general for when we get enough men. And this Claudius guy seems pretty damn tough. In fact, I'm going to take a quick look here. He's going to be up in this section. What we're trying to do is get another artillery piece. A lot of people have recommended that as the next purchase. And there we go. We've got some Austrian field artillery, but it's 1,000. It's 600 for the Austrian battalion artillery. Unfortunately, we have nothing left to sell. But we could certainly come back. Let's take a look here. Sure enough, we got an enemy army there. This camp was abandoned in haste, cooking fires still smolder, and scattered kit lies strewn about the grounds. The enemy must have left in a great hurry, though the reason is not immediately clear. So we can get quite a few thalers out of this. We could also ransack the camp, but there is a chance of facing a large enemy field army, which I'm not exactly 100% up for right now. Let's put it that way. So we'll get up to nearly $600, and we will face this British army here in Stuhlweienburg. Stuhlweienburg? I think we're getting that correctly. This should be a pretty simple victory. Nothing of note. Just a standard battle. So let's jump in and crush the enemy here. Another reason I do these fights is not just to get the additional items, but it's also to improve the veterancy of our existing units. Why don't you go ahead and fast forward here. I don't typically fast forward for these battles unless we absolutely need to. In this one, I just think it's a small battle. We know the likely outcome, and so I'm going to go ahead and try and push it forward. There we go. Let's go right there. And with this Austrian Fusilier unit, I want to make sure that they're not overlapping. Somebody mentioned earlier, which was a good bit of advice, not to allow the men to overlap. Here we go, though. They're starting to make it across the actual tree line. And we're also going to fire with the Chevalier. We'll get them over here on this flank. So far, we're just waiting for the enemy to get closer. In fact, we could probably start firing already because that crossing the river is going to do a tremendous amount of damage to them if we fire at them while they're in there. Although there we go, some very heavy artillery. Push forward with the Fusiliers. Beautiful. Already getting some flanking shots there on those recruits. Let's just try to overwhelm them. We'll bring in the Chevalier as well. And again, for those of you that want your name in the game, all you have to do is let me know. We already have a Blazenstein, our general, who is named after one of our users. I just don't want them to get to this bushy area because that's going to mean that they actually have some decent cover, and we want to avoid that. Get the Chevalier away entirely, trying to get them actually behind the enemy. We could actually start harassing their artillery if we wish. But it looks like they are already targeting the Chevalier. They know what's up. How the hell did that happen? Here we go. There we go. First unit has retreated. Let's now, of course, put our focus here on the Redcoat recruits. And sure enough, another retreat. I love to see it. Again, though, we knew this was going to be a fairly simple, straightforward fight. Just imagine being on the receiving end here. The British foot against, they are the strongest British unit on the field right now, but having to face a volley like this, man, must be devastating. Not just rifles, but also artillery pieces. Let's actually get the Chevalier already firing there at the enemy artillery. Crownland recruits almost in position. There we go. Beautiful. You can see just from that first couple of volleys, all of the dead men right there, dead and wounded. At this point, we are going to be the ones crossing the river. Although not if these redcoat recruits have anything to say about it. Looks like they're trying to get back in the fight. Let's remind them why they left in the first place. Oh, bastards got our artillery, our cavalry, pardon me. And again, we will still be advancing here. Looks like our recruits are still firing at the retreating enemy. They've got the right idea, man. I mean, technically the rules of war don't exist, right? At least not the way they do now. We do another shot with the Chevaliers, but I think we might be pushing our luck a bit. Let's just get across, period. And there we go. Those redcoat recruits look like they're about to break. I think one more volley and they're finished. Beautiful. Right there from the Fusiliers. And they are broken once again, or retreating, I should say. They're not broken. As long as they retreat, they can always return to the fight, given appropriate morale, although it's unlikely. And yes, if you're wondering why are we just right-clicking, that's right. We're just trying to get across the river here with everybody. In fact, we're going to fast forward a bit. There we go. Broke one, and we should break the next one quickly. And there we go, guys. A quick win. Not as quick as I thought, though, I have to say. That actually took a little longer than expected. But my goal now is to get that artillery unit even more. So we got quite a few thalers from that. 176, not bad. We also got some pretty cool items here to use. I am going to go for the reservist focus. All right, and we also have some units that we could potentially promote, guys. So our army is getting stronger by the day. Nice. Let's take a look. We can actually promote these Crownland recruits. It's about time. So we could wait until we're able to get Jaegers, or we could go straight into the Fusiliers. We could go also and take an Austrian light battery. Pardon me. But we'll see. So I'm going all through all these units. The Grenzer recruits, I already know I want them to be Grenzer Fusiliers. So we're actually going to wait a bit. We're going to go for the Austrian Fusiliers. I know I'm really tempted to get the artillery, and maybe I should have, but when I'm playing as the Austrians, this is the approach I take. Again, those Austrian Fusiliers are actually pretty decent, unlike a lot of the other Austrian units. We'll also go ahead and give these Fusiliers a beautiful military treatise. I'm not too concerned about ammo consumption. We never had an issue with it. So let's leave. And actually, we've got another British army on the way. This is perfect. Stuhlweienburg. All right, let's take a look here at Stuhlweienburg. So we're going to just sell this, and you know what, we'll sell this too. And what I really want to do is go looking for artillery. Especially since we know that there is an army hunting for us. Oh, no, that's right. That's the end of the map. Forget that. Ooh! 9,000. I don't know if we can make it out of this fight, guys. We're going to have to try. I'll try to get to Hottwan. Hottwan. That's an interesting... kind of a... Is that Jamaican? All right, let's get to Hottwan quickly. Barracks. And... Oh, baby, please allow me... Okay, we can get the Austrian Battalion Artillery. Yes, baby! All right, guys, I know it's not perfect, but it's going to have to do. I mean, even though it's 3-pounders flying at you, it's still 3-pounders flying at you. All right, well, let's get into the fight. We're going to have to leave here, and almost certainly the enemy will catch us there. They outnumber us significantly, guys, so I'm hoping we can still come out on top. They've also got some Highlanders with them, and anytime we face Highlanders, man, they are just brutal in close combat, in melee combat. So I'm hoping they don't get close enough to use them. Let's put it that way. Right? Okay, we're just going to get on this side of the river. This Fusilier unit, we're going to move into the town. Same with this Fusilier unit, hopefully. We will adjust as we need to, but right now, guys, we just want to get these guys into a semi-decent position. I'm setting the artillery right there on the edge of town. We'll also bring the Chevalier to assist. I think they should maybe assist. I was going to say on the right side, but you know what? We'll just keep them available. Let's put it that way. Not feeling very confident, boys and girls. Do you think we're going to make it through? Let me know in the comments below. All right, fairly soon here, we're going to begin firing with that artillery. Let's go for it. I'm going to fire in that large group there. Look at this, guys. Sure enough, they are going to try and face us on that side of the river. That's pretty ballsy, but they are attacking from the flank here, too. So we're actually in a bit of a pickle. Let's go have our Chevaliers assist here. We want to completely change the formation here. Or the pacing, anyway. We don't really need to mess with the formation much at the moment. All right, here we go. First group, Highland Foot. We definitely want to break these Highlanders, guys. Remember what I told you about them. We need these guys to move faster. So we're actually in a decent position if we can move quickly enough. There we go. One unit retreating, the recruits. I'm not sure why. Move back with the Chevaliers. Once again, we're just going to refocus our fire on that unit of Redcoat recruits. I'm hoping that just the good positioning we have here is what's leading them to retreat. Switch our fire here extremely close to the cannons. And actually, I think we're going to take Leopold and go over here into the town. See, those Highlanders still aren't broken, even though they're badly damaged. There we go. Finally, they broke. But they're still, nope, they're still holding on to the very end. Give us a volley. Incredible, guys. We've got them on the run. Still have to deal with these recruits, which is kind of frustrating, but nonetheless. And I'm actually going to try to assist with the red coat recruits over here. Send these Chevaliers. Might not seem like a lot of damage, but we need to do as much as possible to break this group here. Then we can turn our attention entirely to the rest of the attacking British Army. There we go. Massive break. And I don't really want to leave this position. I feel like we're in a great position. There we go. Enemy retreating, man. I hate to attack them in the woods, but we don't really have a choice. And there we go. Provincial cavalry is arriving. You guys better reload quickly, man. They've got a lot of provincial cavalry. All right, we've got another group of redcoats running, guys. Unbelievably, we are making it through so far. I think I'm going to turn my attention directly at the artillery. Or actually, you know what? Is it too late to switch? I guess not. That's cool that you can switch kind of up until the last second. Actually, no, we'll fire at these guys because they're directly ahead of us. Then again, these redcoat recruits are looking pretty vicious. And despite us breaking a lot of their units, man, they come back so quickly, and they come back stronger than ever. Fire! Can our Fusiliers hold on? That's the question. Repair bayonets. Here we go. You know what I'm going to do with the Chevaliers? I'm going to try to get them on the enemy flank. Oh, that's not the Chevaliers. It's undoubtedly the largest fight we've had, though, in the game. All right, there we go. Beautiful to see that artillery on the run. And I want to get into the enemy's flank. So I'm actually going to move over here. And we should be right behind the enemy. Especially since our Fusilier unit is taking a lot of losses, man. We need to break them soon. Chargez! That's right, we're charging. There we go. It worked, guys. It may have seemed foolhardy, but it worked. Look at those sabers putting in some extra action against the recruits. And we're going to take a look at this forest. We're going to call this the Battle of Something Wood because so many men died just in the forest area here. Look at that. Shattered. Unfortunately, was that our group shattered? I don't think so. It may have been our Chevalier. We may be down one Chevalier unit, guys. There had to be some sacrifice in this battle. I don't think so, though. I could be wrong. And not without significant losses, let's put it that way. Not without significant losses here on the battlefield. And look at that, they still have a Dragoon unit. They're still going to go for another push. They haven't given up. And there we go. Another retreat. All we have to do is break this Dragoon unit. And I believe we are home free, guys. But it was not an easy fight. That's actually one that deserves to be remembered. There we go, guys. A victory, but a tough one. Certainly not one that I was looking for, a battle I was looking for there, but we came out on top. So we need to take what we can get. Inflict 50,000 casualties in a campaign. Beautiful, guys. And look at that. A lot of battle loot. Some that we can actually give to our men, specifically the Tompions. But again, we need those conscripts. We also need the gold, though. You know what? Gotta go for the conscripts. Gotta go for the conscripts. And we should be able to upgrade at least one of these units. Make sure they all have ammunition. See, we're going to have to purchase ammunition at the nearest town. Which isn't an issue. We can do that, but just something to consider. And again, those Grenzer recruits, they just need one more to become Grenzer Fusiliers. And if you thought the Austrian Fusiliers were good, you just wait. In fact, we're going to give those Tompions to our Austrian Fusiliers. So far, that's it. All right, guys. Well, we're going to end this particular part of the campaign here. Let me know in the comments down below what you'd like to see, and especially if you want to be added as a member of the campaign yourself. You can name your units however you wish, and we will honor that. So we've already done it, making somebody a general. I don't need that. Minus melee damage received. I don't need the Silver Gorget. I'll keep the light saddles, but I don't need the canteens either. And at this point, we can actually begin, guys, our new brigade under Claudius von Hock, the guy that lost his leg in combat. Let's hope that we can fill it with some very powerful units going forward here. In fact, I'm even tempted to sell the light saddle just to get an additional unit. Or maybe we wait a bit, because maybe we get like something like a Hungarian Fusilier that's a little more expensive, but also a lot more powerful. And let's focus. Let's get that ammunition. And we're ready for another fight, guys. Thank you so much. Catch you on the next one.